Hey there, welcome to this episode of Author Success Show. The special guest we have today is Anjani Amriit. Anjani is a corporate lawyer turned holistic leadership expert and women's empowerment advocate. She's a speaker and international best-selling author. Anjani went from crisis to contribution, leaving her 9 to 5 to become a socialpreneur. Anjani's mission is to be an advocate for women's empowerment in the corporate world, grow more socially conscious leaders, mobilize change makers to bring their highest purpose to life. Hey, Anjani, welcome to Author Success Show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's my pleasure. So before understanding more about your book, I just wanted to know, when was the first idea of writing a book enter your mind? When did you think that I should become an author someday?
Probably when I was about 6 years old. I've always loved books, loved writing. I've always wanted to write a book and never really got round to it. It's just always been this big secret dream that I've held, but never managed to get to it. So yeah, long time.
Right. And then your journey has been very interesting. And in a sense, it was similar to mine, because I too was trapped in a corporate job that I didn't like and finally quit to become an entrepreneur. So could you just tell us a little bit about your move from being an employee to an entrepreneur? And I'm sure you talk about the same in your book as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. The book is all about my journey, how I got there. But basically, I was in a corporate law role. So I did corporate law for about 16 years. And I was buying and selling companies, doing trillion-dollar deals. And, I reached my way to the top. I worked in the top circle law firms in both the UK and Australia when I relocated to Australia. And I had all what you would think would be success. I ticked all the boxes. I'd got the good job for my parents. I'd been and got all of the success, the symbols. And I was just miserable inside. It really wasn't for me. So I got very ill. I had chronic fatigue. I burnt out. I had a lot of anxiety, and it was really difficult for me. I lost lots of weight, and I really struggled mentally, emotionally, and physically to stay in the job, even though I was really doing really well in my job. Inside of me, I was really dying inside. It was killing me. So I actually went to a meditation class in Sydney, and someone had recommended I go and try a meditation because I tried everything. And it was like I'd taken a class A drug. Not that I've never taken drugs. I'm very sensitive. I can't even drink black tea. I'm that sensitive. And it was like this light switched on, this golden light. And I was in bliss for 3 days after. I'd never experienced anything like it. And I just wanted to learn more. So that led to one thing and another. And I ended up making a decision to turn my back on law. And I took myself to India, to what I call eat, pray, love myself, back to wellness. And I studied in ashrams. I studied Ayurvedic medicine and yoga, energy healing, like everything that was a complete opposite of law. And my logical brain couldn't compute, but my heart loved it. And the first time I went to India, I literally, my knees buckled as I got out of the airport. And I heard this voice in my head saying, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. And I burst out crying. That's how I felt. It nourishes your soul being there. And I retrained, and now I do what I do now, which is mentoring people to help them in their major transitions in life, whether that's their corporate job, their careers, their relationships, whatever it is, to help them do that. And a big part of this is the book that I just launched, which I'm so excited about, because I finally got to do my dream. So the book is called Corporate Dropouts, and it's been an absolute privilege to be part of it.
Amazing, Anjani. So once you did that self-healing process for a while, and you felt a lot better, a lot energetic and blissful, How was the journey after that, from understanding that you're meant to do something else to actually taking the bold decision to quit your job and start something on your own?
Yes, people think, oh, they either think it's going to be really easy, or they think it's so hard it's impossible. And my experiences was, it was in between both of those. So it was a slow transition. And so I started out as a massage therapist. I learned Ayurvedic therapy. So I started offering people Ayurvedic wellness and healing sessions and Ayurvedic massages and energy massages. And that's how I started. You know, I downgraded everything and I started doing that. And then I started speaking and getting a lot of traction with that. And then I started naturally moving into the mentoring space. It was a natural thing for me to do. It wasn't enough to just people come and get a massage or an energy healing. I had so many more natural skills around mentoring, which I used to have as a lawyer. People, my juniors would come to me and have mentoring. So those natural skills started to play out. And over time, I created a community, a following. And then as I've grown in my direction and in my capabilities and my skill set, I just brought all of those along with what I do. So I set up my own business, and it's grown as I've grown, it's grown with me. And I think that's the best way for anyone to do, is transition slowly, do what you love. Don't quit your day job, I want to say, even though you hate it, but take steps towards looking for something that does nourish you, that does fill you up, and maybe study something completely different and let your corporate job pay you to transition. So that's what I did. And I highly recommend that for everybody.
I love this advice, Anjani, because a lot of people make this grave mistake of impulsively quitting their job and then not knowing what to do next. And that could be like a huge pressurizing situation. But instead, you started really small. You did not have a big business plan, but while working with clients, you realized some of your divine gifts, which you had from your past career, which you now are using for your current clients. So could you tell us a little bit about Women with Purpose, which you are currently running?
Yes, it's an online community of women, and it's women of all ages, and it's women who are looking, they know that they came here for a bigger purpose and they're not doing it. So coaches, corporate people, executives, leaders, mums, anyone who is looking to do something more meaningful with their life, they are part of this community. And as part of the community, I offer regular mentoring sessions, videos, downloads, meditations, lots of freebies. And it's a community of women that they can all talk to each other and really get that support from each other. So it's not just me, I'm the facilitator there. And I'm all about empowered women empowering women, and that's what Women with Purpose is about. So it's not just me, everyone gets to benefit. They can post jobs if they're looking for jobs, they can ask questions, get mentoring, share networks, connect. So it's really special that way.
Amazing. So what's also special about your book, Anjani, is that it's a collaboration project. Again, it's not just about you. So how did that happen? Did you reach out to some people, or did some friends reach out to you and you guys decided to write this book together?
It's interesting. It was actually my former virtual assistant who I had helped mentor to help her move into something meaningful for herself. And I don't take all of the credit for that, but I did help her in terms of looking for what else would be her passion. And she realized that her passion was in book publishing. So she set up her own book publishing company. She invited me to take part in this particular book. And when I heard the title, energetically, it just leapt out at me. I felt the energy of it and I got so excited, and it was an obvious yes for me. And the fact that it was multi-author, because for me, I'm all about collaboration and we are better together. And I love the fact that my very first book would be one with other amazing women, all telling and sharing their stories of how they had the regular 9 to 5 and they left it to follow their dreams, their passion, and it's created this amazing community of a network of women for me too, because it can be really lonely when you're running your own business.
Absolutely. I too love the title Corporate Dropouts. It's such a cool thing, right? Because we don't look at it that way. A lot of times people do it out of frustration and anger, and they don't know what else to do. But then reading your book, I'm sure, will give people a lot of um, a lot of ways to do it, because no two women have the same story. So by reading multiple people's experiences, will have people, different choices in front of them, so they can get inspired by any of you and take the next steps.
Yes, that's exactly it. There's so many different ways in the book and so many different ideas. The same themes along the lines of don't quit your day job. You've got this. You've got everything you need. And yes, it's real, and people and women from all over the world. So it's not just Australia. And every woman who's contributed to this book, this is each of our first books. So we're all brand new authors, and to reach international bestseller was such a privilege. It was such a joy. We couldn't believe it. We were so excited. It was just hitting #1 all around the world. So it's obviously really needed. And we found, I've been getting emails and messages and LinkedIn from people saying, oh my God, I read your book. It's given me a roadmap. It's given me ideas. It's motivated me. It's inspired me. I no longer feel alone. And that to me is the precious gift that comes from this book.
Right. So I want to understand a little bit about the writing process, Anjani. Were any guidelines given to you by the publisher that I needed a chapter that had so many words, or you need to follow a particular writing style, or any of that? Or were you given the complete freedom to do it your way?
Both. So Four Eagles Publishing are amazing. They're like no other publishing houses. They actually do a lot for you, especially for first-time authors. And so they give you the parameter. It's this many words. You have one chapter. Don't go over this many words. You can write in any style, but it's about telling a story, sharing your story, because that's what connects with people. So lovely guidelines. And then we had freedom to write whatever we wanted in there about our journey from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur. And so we had both, and it was really helpful to be able to express myself in a way that I could just share my story, because often the trap that people fall into when they're writing in a book is they do it quite intellectually, and they try and write from their mentoring or therapist point of view, and that doesn't land. It doesn't connect with people,
right?
Or they don't know how to share their story. They're scared of sharing it. They might be scared that I'm writing about someone, it's very personal. How do I do that? So there was all of that that we got some guidance on as well. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's nice. And you could have shared so many things about your life, but were you able to pick that one particular thing that you wanted to share in this book? What was,
yes.
I mean, how did you choose that one particular thing?
Yeah. For me, it was the soul awakening piece. And so for me, it was what I talk about in my book is the miracle that happened to me when I was younger. Well, it didn't happen to me, but it was in my family, where my brother, who had terminal cancer when he was 9, and he was given 3 months to live. He lost all his weight. He was stopped eating. Like, he was a skeleton. And my grandma took him to Lourdes in France, which is a pilgrimage place. And he was there for 3 days, and he started eating there. His color came back. He started putting weight on. He could walk. And when he came back, he went for his usual test to the hospital, and the doctors were dumbfounded. They were saying, we don't know how, but it's just disappeared. And his cancer was in his bones. All right. So it doesn't just disappear. So in the space of a week, he went from terminal cancer to nothing. So he literally was a walking miracle. And that, that imprinted itself. You can't not, live an ordinary life after that's happened to you in your family, right? So that was the first time experience, really, that I got an experience of the sacred feminine. and the miraculous in life. And then from my meditation, that was another awakening. And then when I went to India, I had the absolute profound, great, just blessing really to work with amazing masters and my now guru and amazing gurus in India that just brought all of this awakening to my soul. And that was the game changer for me. And that's the kind of work I do with people. For me, that's the real transformation piece. That's when we can make the seemingly impossible possible, when we have activated our Kundalini Shakti, our energy, our life force. And even Tony Robbins has just written a book about life force, and he gets it now too, which is exciting. And
because now it's become mainstream, right?
It's become mainstream, and this is the exciting piece. It's like yoga became mainstream maybe 10 years ago for the corporate world, and I find that it helps people know that I was a corporate lawyer, and so I have a very intellectual mind, but I'm also deeply spiritual. And that piece for me, when you bring the two together, the head and the heart together, you have a winning combo. So I write a lot about the stories around my soul awakening and how I went literally from burnout to bliss, and how when we awaken, especially our feminine leadership qualities, we can do anything. We are literally can do anything. We become powerhouses.
Absolutely. So Anjani, once the book got published, what are some of the good things that have happened to you? I know you've started speaking on stages a lot more. So what are the different things that you experienced as a result of becoming an author?
It's life-changing. First of all, it's a dream come true. So that in itself brings a lot of self-confidence, obviously, self-assurity. From a status point of view, from a leadership point of view, from those points of view, it brings you a lot of credentials, and people want to know about your story, and it just shows people that you're a thought leader, that you have something that you've written that's been published, especially becoming an international best-selling author. People just take more notice of you. And I've been, as you said, I've actually been flooded with speaking opportunities, which is fantastic, because that's also what I wanted to really move my business towards, is speaking and writing. It's been a long dream of mine to become a speaker and an author, and the offers are just flooding in, and people are really loving the book and wanting to know more about it, wanting to hear me speak. So that really, it really leads itself to becoming a speaker as well as writing, and then obviously new opportunities to write. So I've landed a second book with Hay House Publishers. So they're wanting me to write my own book now. So many opportunities for business to speak. It's very exciting and also very humbling, and it's a privilege, so I take it all with a lot of gratitude.
I liked a couple of things from what you said, Anjani. One is the internal transformation, right? The happiness that you feel from within when you write your book. I think that's the biggest payoff. A lot of people look at the ROI only from the monetary standpoint. The money and the fame and the opportunities are great, but as an author, the journey that you experience personally, I think that is totally priceless, and I'm glad you experienced the same. And also I felt that if you had written the book on your own, then you are limiting the exposure only to your audience. But since other women also collaborated in this project, I'm sure they would have shared like crazy with their followers, and a lot of people who've never heard of you before are now checking out your profile, going to your website because they've found you in their friend's book or something like that, right? So I think that's the power of collaboration.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's such an amazing thing to be able to support each other. And we've now got our own Facebook group where we're helping each other. Do you know about this? Here's this. My PR person is sharing our, she's doing a package for us all. So the power of collaboration cannot be underestimated. And if you're looking to be an author, I highly recommend, if it's your first book, starting with a multi-author book. It's the thing now. It used to be frowned upon, but now it's gaining more and more credibility. And I love that, because it's so, that's the feminine as well. You know, men want to divide and conquer, and the feminine energy wants to collaborate and become, you know, step into that unity consciousness. And I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Anjani, what would be your final message to those women who, and even men for that matter, who are thinking too much about their writing project, but really are not making much progress? They know they have something special inside of them. They know that their book could be their purpose, but something is holding them back. What would you tell them?
I would say get someone who can help mentor you to get to writing your book, because it's inside of you. And often people say, I will say, the block is inside of you, not outside of you. So someone will say, oh, you just write it, or just do it, or just get the confidence, or they will give you all these external ways of getting your book written. But really, the block is inside of you. And so getting a mentor to help you see what the block is inside of you, fix up that bug inside of you, and then it'll be easy for you to finish your book, because you can self-publish, you can join a multi-author published book, you can write your own book, and there are so many ways now to get it out there. But I would say, look inside of you at, you know, what are the excuses you tell yourself? It's all about self-sabotage. It's all about putting yourself out there, because the book is such a personal thing. It's literally your heart, it written on a page. And so often we really struggle with that. It's not that we can't write it, it's just that there's a lot of self-sabotage that goes on.
Yeah, I think this is such solid advice, because wherever we get stuck in life, if we work with a mentor who can give a different perspective, clear our blocks, life becomes a lot easier. Otherwise, what may take like a month can actually take 10 years. So why, struggle alone when you can work with mentors who can really help you do things faster and easier. Thank you so much, Anjani, for coming on Author Success Show and sharing a lot of things about your book and your work. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been an absolute privilege. Thank you for having me on.